The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the alternative Digitalk. With our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
We President Museveni wadde juzi namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyanema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the alternative Digitalk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugendo maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop and smart TVs as we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the alternative Digitalk.
The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk. The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi beautiful Ugandans, it's your girl Kyeyo. Welcome to the fancy floor. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape,
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
we shall be doing all this in the fancy floor. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Kyeyo. It is the fancy floor.
The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk. The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Okay, good morning, our viewers. My name is Norman Tumuhimbise. It's been close to 5 months ever since we last appeared here, as you may be aware, following the CMI and the entire state raid onto our offices some time ago in March 10th, 2022. It's been a while, and by God's grace, we are back on air. I wish to thank you, gentlemen and ladies, countrymen, for having been patient for this long to wait for us until when we would come back instead. Today, we have retired Justice George Wilson Kanyeihamba. Justice Kanyeihamba. Justice Kanyeihamba. Okay, as strong as always and brilliant. We're here to share lots of discussions in regards to Chairman Mao's, either it's crossing over to NRM or a partnership, whatever term that they gave it. Justice Kanyeihamba, say hello to our viewers. It's been a while.
Good morning, viewers, and nice to see you. I'm much better than you that saw me.
And the doctors have revised my expectation of life. They think, God willing, I will live for another 10 or 20 years. So there you are. By the time I say goodbye to you, not broadcast anymore, and God agreeing with the doctors, I will be 100 years or more. I am 82 now.
That's so good of. By the way, for our viewers, Justice Kanyeihamba will be making 83 years next week. If I need to remind you, next week Wednesday, and by
August
God's grace,
11th.
3rd.
Yes,
11th,
August 11th,
rather,
I will be
11th.
83. Yes.
Okay. So we are with him. We want to discuss. Our topic of discussion today is in regards to Chairman Mao's and DP's political parties' cooperation with NRM. To begin with, Justice Kanyeihamba, for our viewers, what are political cooperations and alliances?
I don't know why they didn't bring I have an agreement.
Yeah, sure.
I have the copy of the agreement. Somebody look for me.
Someone should get Justice
But
Kanyeihamba.
I know what it contains. I read it twice. There is nothing. The only thing you can see if you are intelligent is that Mao has surrendered his powers and is now in Kyeyo, in a group called NRM, and he will have to do everything that the leader and the NRM people say he should do. He's now a man of Kyeyo. If you understand the meaning of Kyeyo,
for our viewers,
our guy was going to Saudi Arabia.
For Kyeyo.
Yeah, for Kyeyo. So, Norbert Mao, my friend, I can say goodbye to you. You have disappointed me. You have disappointed the UP, DP. You have disappointed many Ugandans for going to Kyeyo instead of waiting here to lead us. Goodbye, my friend.
Is that a goodbye in good faith? Is your goodbye to Chairman Mao in good faith?
It is in good faith. Because he's a friend of mine. And I was expecting that he would be one of the competing leaders to replace Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, who I have written in my book the defeat of President Museveni in the war against corruption. And they said he has also called himself Tibuhaburwa, which means in our language, I am the one who never accepts advice, who never needs advice. And I said in that book that a leader who says he doesn't accept advice or seek advice has forfeited his right to be president of Uganda. And I am saying in that book that every Ugandan should be now discussing the retirement of President Museveni and succession to him. I am genuine. I have written a book I have sent it, because I'll be coming to that. I've sent a copy to every leader of the movement.
Have they responded?
But nobody says anything. Whether it is Mao, Chagulanyi, and the leader of the Conservative Party, or I wanted to excuse Kizza Besigye. Kizza Besigye is too busy. He's been everywhere he goes, he's arrested. So I can't blame him for not responding to that book. Maybe he never got it. Maybe they interpreted it and took it away from them. So the only man remaining standing is Kizza Besigye in this country.
What do you mean the only man who remains standing in this country?
I'll tell you how the others have gone out. You see, Museveni has destroyed all the other political parties, including the two he himself helped to found. If you remember, before he became president, he was president of UPM. He founded it.
And he destroyed it.
I remember then when he saw that the multipartyism was going to replace movement, he destroyed it and converted a movement he had found, which I still support, movement, into a political party. So number one. Number two, he destroyed UPC, another party, very old party next to DP.
Yeah.
And how did he destroy it? He persuaded its leaders to do Kyeyo in the movement. And then he persuaded the wife of the leader of the UPC, the leader of the UPC, to release his wife and become a minister, cabinet minister, in Museveni's government. That's why, Norman, I wrote a book called In the Power of Africa, The Unexpected Happens.
Yes.
Then, you remember a man called Ken Rushamuzi, our man.
Yes, of CP.
Our man. Have you ever heard him talking with him? He was silenced forever.
Why?
Because his daughter not only joined, married in the movement.
What do you mean his daughter got married in the movement?
As I understand, his second wife, as I understand, of Muhoozi, the son of President Museveni, and then Muhoozi is competing with his father for leadership. And you ask me why. Muhoozi supports the opposition in Ethiopia. Museveni supports the government of Ethiopia. How can you have that?
Does that mean the contradiction is already in the first family?
Absolutely, yes. There's a contradiction in the family. They disagree on foreign policy. Fundamentally, they disagree. So that's the other one. Then, I hadn't asked him, Chagulanyi, I voted for his party in the last general elections. There's a picture here where I am with him. He brought it to me, and he thinks I'm a man of integrity. He has promised so many times to come and visit me. Then I discovered one of his members came to me. He said, Chagulanyi cannot see you. I said, why? He said, you are a spy for the movement and the Museveni. I was shocked. I said, what I say publicly, even today, makes me a spy? Do you know why?
Not really.
My car
Still has the Justice Ministry number plate.
and I tell you why it has it. It is UGJ. So by looking at that,
Makes you a spy.
a member of the of NUPE convinces his leader that
he was
I am
spy.
still a spy of Museveni, and he should
Avoid
not
you.
be seen coming here. Of that number. But he has not called me. Kanyeihamba, are you
Are you
a
a spy?
spy?
Would you tell him that you're a spy in any case?
But I am not. And I'm saying, no, I am not.
Okay, just
I am against him. I want him to retire from this. Today, in my book, I say, Ugandans, we must persuade him to retire today. The movement has outlived its usefulness. It has breached every promise she made. It should be replaced by another organization or party. But I was talking about how President Museveni has demolished all the parties in Uganda. So, because of that rumor, I called Kyagulanyi, he doesn't answer. Last time he called me, said he was coming here. I waited for him on the day he promised. He never turned up. That is the other party. Now, Kenya.
Federal Alliance.
Kenya used to abuse me for giving powers to the ruling power. Party.
To the president.
I addressed on her invitation the Federal Alliance, and they said federal is a system, so you can't be leader of a system. You should be one of the parties, call yourself a party, and they persuade the other parties, including Museveni, Mao, to join in the system. So one of you can be elected president. She abuses me. Then Museveni knows how to destroy parties. So when he had my conversation, I'm sure he had it, he appointed the Kenya minister in the cabinet, Minister of Kampala.
At the time.
And she said, Museveni live forever. You are the greatest ever. So he destroyed UPM, he destroyed UPC. He
Federal Alliance.
Yes.
CP.
Then, yes. Then one time you came here, after the launch, actually you are the one who organized it. The launch, the alternative digital organized it. The launch of my book, Evolution of Constitutional Law.
Public law and government.
Public law and the government. More, I will show you even you should read, so they publish it to your listeners. What Mao said.
Something you wanted to also discuss.
And he said, your honesty is infectious. And I am sorry to say, I have been one of those who have been infected by it. Museveni must have had that. So he said,
should sign you up.
this man is joking. I will persuade him to come and do Kyeyo here. And the Museveni succeeded. So there is no party left except one man fighting for FDC, Chiza Besige.
Does that mean, in your view, that the rest of the opposition figures we have in this country aren't that strong enough?
The one Nupe, its leader has become Mr. Mpuga. Is it Mpuga?
That's the leader of opposition.
In the parliament?
Yes.
But he's now also leader.
What do you mean?
Oh my God.
To our viewers.
He's the only one who speaks for Nupe.
No.
And he wants to be a president. That's why he became an MP. You heard that Kyagulanyi spoke, telling the whole world that there are Moors in his party. He didn't name them. But because of the way he has treated me, I have been his good friend and supporter. He regards me as a Moor, working for Museveni. So, is there any other party left? There is none.
All are swallowed.
They are all swallowed. I wish somebody could revive YK. Because the only honest people we have, one is a politician, one is a ruler. And rather one is a kabaka. And those are the Katikkiro of Uganda and Ssaabasajja Kabaka we Buganda. But we have had a monarch before, who was also head of state, Mutesa II. And maybe most Ugandans don't want another Kabaka
to be president.
But he can be a great advisor behind the scenes. He's my friend, I'm sorry to say. And to show you, Museveni has never been in his house, not once. I have been to his, but the Kabaka has been here twice. Not only that, apart from the people of Rwanda, who called the hostel I built for them, Kanyeihamba hostel, it's only in the Uganda, where the Kabaka rained spring, that they have decided recently to call this road going up to Acacia Lodge, Kanyeihamba Road. That is the kind of procession. When you read my books, what I did for President Museveni and the NRM, by the way, I am the one who nominated him with Kategaya to replace the late Seka, who was preferred by others. I argued, made a fantastic legal argument, and they agreed with me that President Museveni, then Vice President of Seka, who died, should be automatically the successor to Chiseka. Secondly, when Tinyefuza challenged him that I want to leave the army because I despise it now. He challenged Museveni that I wanted to leave the army. I had the case. I was one of the 7 members of the Pino. And I gave the lead judgment.
What so many times was controversial.
Pardon?
A judgment that so many times was very controversial.
You call it controversial. I don't.
Many.
The only thing I said was, you can't allow a soldier or a general to leave the army without following the instructions for which he engaged himself with the country by following the orders of the commission. And I still hold that view very strongly. Would you like the army, if they are frightened of Museveni, to move away so he destroys us?
Not really.
So what was controversial about it?
People saying...
No, which people? You see, for me, I don't like people saying, oh, they say, or whatever. Who are they?
No, we have...
So that I answer them.
Yeah,
it's not a controversial issue.
Most likely you should answer
to know who said so.
You should answer to them. They think that by the time General Tinyefuza decided to leave the army, maybe he had seen things not moving right internally.
But so we have all seen them.
He wanted to just leave it that way and leave it to
Look,
the owner.
I was supporting the army.
At the time.
The army will be there, whether Museveni is the president, is the dictator, whether Mao is a chairman, the army will stay there. So my judgment was to protect the integrity of the army, not of Museveni. The problem Ugandans we have, they personalize everything. And they look at the leader as the only solution to everything. So, however, on that occasion, President Museveni praised my judgment. He also praised it because I was supporting the army to retire regularly, not just abandon either of fear or whatever. That is the object of my appointment. But the DP, and the Mao is my witness, had slated Tinyefuza to be their military leader. That is why they put, those who support the DP don't like my judgment. But let me tell you, I have defeated President Museveni on 2 occasions, personally. When I was when I was no longer a judge, retired, President Museveni nominated Odochi, Chief Justice Odochi, retired, to be Chief Justice again. Everybody in the country feared. The Prime Minister then was Mbabazi, my tribesman. He warned me that Kanyeihamba, leave this alone. President Museveni had made up his mind. There is no way you can change it. So I took him to the court, constitutional court. When I was there, everybody frightened, including one of my lawyers. They applied to appeal to the Supreme Court. I told them, we don't have to appeal. I made this constitution. Our right to appeal is automatic. If we are dissatisfied with the decision of the Constitutional Court, we automatically appeal. They were arguing. I remember one of those lawyers who has been Watcher, who is a friend of mine. He stayed arguing, asking for leave from the Constitutional Court to appeal. For me, I went directly from there. Said these people don't know the law, they don't know the Constitution. So and you can ask Ben Watcher, he's still alive. He was my very good deputy when we were making the Constitution. So I went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, you don't need leave to appeal. Shows you this unreading culture has affected even lawyers. As I'm going to tell you later. Then they summoned us, the Supreme Court, without having had leave to appeal. They summoned us to go. And we argued the case, and the Supreme Court agreed, although she cannot be Chief Justice, because he retired at the age of 70. So we defeated Museveni. Everybody knows. But the media, New Vision, Monitor, they don't mention anything about that case. I sent an article to New Vision because I thought this was a public matter. They ignored my provision. They don't want the world to know that Museveni can be defeated, even if he's president. Now, having said that, the president kept quiet. The president, if you read my books, I have done more than anybody else for this government. In the bush, when he was in the bush, and asked Chagulanye, whether Charlie Gonza, General Charlie Gonza, he said, I always regularly wrote to the High Command and to the fighters in the bush. And the Museveni would come and read my letter. He said, our professor in London again has written, how do you say, hey, we should take that view. Museveni, I am not even a footnote in his book, The Mustard Seed. I'm not even in a footnote. He did a second edition.
Yeah, second edition, yeah.
After I had complained through the author of the editor of that book called Cham Nyogonya. And he said, we shall put you in the second edition. I said, thank you. Read the second edition. I am not there.
Not even a footnote. Okay, Justice Kanyeihamba.
Yes.
Our viewers are interested in knowing under what circumstances should such corporations take place. in regards to drawing reference to DP NRM cooperation?
First of all, there is no constitutional provision in Uganda or anywhere else which says one party can cooperate with another. Cooperate on what? Sharing wives?
Sharing power. That's why your friend is now
You
is
can't
now
share
in Kyeyo. He's now a minister. By
Now,
the way,
let me tell you, I have read the agreement.
yeah.
Mao and DP is support the policies and decisions
Of
of
NRM.
the NRM. The NRM in return is to sympathize, not support, sympathize with the aspirations and dreams of DP. What kind of speaker is that? You, Mao and DP, you will support our decisions.
For us, we shall
Yes.
NRM will sympathize.
And you may attend our meetings, but don't speak, don't say anything. But the NRM may meet and comment on your
DP,
policies if they conflict with its program. But Mao has agreed to support all the programs of the NRM. And he has to, because he agreed to be Minister of Minister of Justice and
Constitutional Affairs.
and Constitutional Affairs. So supposing the NRM makes a provision that the political parties are abolished, what will Mao do? Because he's the advisor, the principal advisor to government.
Yeah.
So if you are a leader of a political party, how can you agree whether it is a Kyeyo or a cooperation agreement? How can you agree that you as leader of DP, if NRM proposes matters which are against the party, your party, you will still support the movement? Are you leader of DP or Attorney General of NRM? That's ridiculous.
Justice Kanyeihamba, in your view, you have had either as the senior presidential advisor, you have had either you have sat with the president to negotiate deals, for lack of another word. Do you think Mr. Museveni, with his NRM, are likely to fully respect this cooperation between DP and NRM, in your view?
Never. They will just respect it by words or mouth. But in practice, they know DP's leader has agreed to be the chairwoman. Have you ever had a chairwoman force? The only thing that happens, in some cases, one or two of the masters have sex with the chairwoman.
So to you,
But because both Museveni and the Mao are men, and none of them, as far as I know, is a homosexual, that one is out.
short of that, Mao has gone for Kyeyo.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question. But I was going to tell you, and you should read it to the viewers, because you have a copy, what he said about me when we launched that book. I had invited him to be a member of the Kanyeihamba Foundation. But now he's moving to NRM as a chairman. Is incompatible with the policies and principles of Kanyeihamba Foundation.
Does that mean you have now rather
No, we
dismissed him?
dropped from the time when he told us that he was on the way
To the marriage
on
now, to the
plane
Kyeyo.
to the Kyeyo and serve the NRM.
No wonder you began by saying today you are militant. Now I think you are proving. You're proving to the viewers how.
What I wanted to say, we may not have time. I better say.
We still have some time. We have some time. You will.
Yes, yeah, because I was in tears this morning. It was reported that hunger has killed over 100 of our people in Karamoja. Hunger! Not fighting, not cattle wrestling, but hunger. Then it was also reported that the Prime Minister, I think he's in Kampala or wherever, is organizing the registration of border riders. What kind of government is this? You lose 100 citizens by hunger. I went to the market yesterday. I passed through the market. Nakasero is full of food. They are rotting. The prices are very reasonable there. There are a lot of bananas which are not bought. We can't even find 2 lorries to save this and to save the lives of Karamoja. So I am challenging the government now. I have savings of my own, which I was keeping them for my family. I am donating 50 million shillings. Let the Vice President,
Prime Minister,
or because I'm in a wheelchair, I can't travel, or the Prime Minister come here and collect that money. And then I am challenging all the rich people in Uganda to donate the same or more, so that not a single Karamojonga should die tomorrow. Tomorrow, no Karamojonga should die of hunger. Because we have a lot of money in this country. President Museveni recently lied that we are now a middle class. So, Mr. President, come here if you really believe in the people of Uganda. Come here yourself. Send your Vice President. The check will be here for 50,000 million from Kanyeihamba, donating it so that no Karamojonga, no Ugandan will ever die of hunger. We are one of the richest tropical countries who produce very, very much food. Much of it, as I said, if we go to Uganda market, is rotting. The government cannot have a vehicle to carry food. They are minding about what is taking tomorrow, today, a by-election, which most likely NRM has rigged and
already
has paid for, and they will win anyway. The opposition, including this Kyeyo man. I want Uganda to remember Kanyeihamba having named one of the politicians a Kyeyo man.
So you,
and he was my friend.
So you have termed Mao a Kyeyo man. Let me ask you, Justice Kanyeihamba, on behalf of the viewers, is donation...
So what I am saying, put this challenge to President Museveni, to Nabanja, the Prime Minister, and the Deputy, go there today, and they can give you a check for 50 million shillings to specifically to buy food for my people in Karamoja.
Barrio Mons is your friend and is the spokesperson of government, Minister for Information. Most likely, he will inform his bosses to come and pick donations from Justice Kanyeihamba.
And only those, the Prime Minister.
So your donation terms and conditions apply. It must be the Vice President.
The only condition is, because I want it to go quickly. And the only person who can move it today to Karamoja is the Vice President or the Prime Minister. So I wanted them to come.
You have
not
had
to send anybody else. Because if you send anybody else, if they themselves want Uganda to die, who am I, Kanyeihamba, to stop their mission? So every Ugandan will know that the Prime Minister, President Museveni will hear this message, and the Vice President don't care about Ugandans. Museveni himself has confessed that he doesn't need any advice to anybody. He doesn't need or work on anybody's advice. So I'm asking the Prime Minister Nabanja and the Vice President, what is her name?
Jessica Alupo.
Arupo, to do the work themselves, because the President Museveni will not listen to their advice. He had said so.
Okay, in the same angle, Justice Kanyeihamba, is that sustainable enough that when we have such trustees that people have to come and people rather seek for donations, or there should be rather a government intentional plan that is sustainable?
Of course it should be there. They even have a Minister of Disaster Preparedness. This is a disaster. To lose Ugandans handle Uganda. Nobody has said anything except about winning the by-election, which, all things being equal, NRM will still pay more money.
And then declare the winner.
So I am appealing to all the rich people in Uganda, including people like Sudil, Bitature, people, my neighbor next door is a very rich man. I can't remember his name. People like Luabogo, who is, I'm told, also aspires to be president, to donate more than 50 million, which Kanyeihamba, who is a retired man, is in a wheelchair, is rushed to hospital from time to time to donate even more. Let the money go. Tomorrow we have transport. We have even oil, of which the Attorney General is the expert, but I'm not an expert on law. Chiwanuka, you listening to me? I advised the Vice President and the Prime Minister to come today and collect a contribution from Kanyeihamba. Thank you.
Okay, viewers, we are still with Justice Kanyeihamba, and the purpose for which we are here is to dig deeper into the cooperation between DP and NRM, though Justice Kanyeihamba says Chairman Mao simply went for Kyeyo. So that to him, he's a Kyeyo man. Justice Kanyeihamba, during the launch of your book, Norbert Mao, save for the beautiful words he uttered, he added that he disagrees with your perception towards political parties. Isn't it the reason for which you want to call him a Kyeyo man?
Yes, because you are absolutely right that he said, and anybody who was in doubt or want to learn more about what Mao said about me, we have a video here. You see him personally praising me and saying he disagreed with me. And then he said, we DP have never cooperated with the people who are corrupt.
Yes.
That's why he disagreed with me. Now, hasn't he proved himself that he has joined the most corrupt regime Uganda has ever had, and he's now serving as the Kyeyo Minister of
He's a Minister for Justice
and Constitutional Affairs. They talked about Constitutional Affairs, that they want that he will lead the amendment.
Yeah, that's part of the
So when you leave here, ask me a question: which parts are you amending? Because the courts, everybody who talks about this says he's the best we have done. And the Museveni will go in the bush once more.
Once it is
if anybody interferes with it. Now, didn't you hear him say that? So which amendments are you going to gear in Parliament? Or have you forgotten? Are you suffering from what we call Kyeyo amnesia.
Viewers, we are not so sure on whether or not Norbert Mao suffers from Kyeyo amnesia, like Justice Kanyeihamba calls it. But to ask also, you were Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs in the first place.
Yes.
Save for other...
Save for what originally I was Minister of Commerce.
But it's alone Justice,
Yes.
Minister and Attorney General.
That's right.
In your view, save for other concerns, do you think Chairman Mao is suitable for such a job?
Is no.
Why?
Because the person who changes his mind and is afraid of the ruling party is not suitable to be Minister of Justice or Attorney General of this country. Never! And I swear in the name of God, truth, and justice,
That Mao is not?
is not suitable. Before he was suitable to be president of this country. But he had hidden his character. But he's a weakling coward, and he's following the vomits originally expelled from his body. I just don't like people like that. No! That's why I saw you this morning.
You are militant.
Very angry and militant. If they can arrest you for that, I am ready to go to Ruzia.
Okay, you have heard him. Justice Kanyeihamba, given his experience, he says Chairman Mao, he simply swallowed his vomit and therefore he does not qualify or he's not suitable to be Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Again, this is a question to you again from our viewers.
Do you know why I am so angry?
Not really. You can
because I had the soul faith and belief in Mao. He was one of my, apart from Chiza Besigye, Mao was one of the most projected leader of this country after the departure of President Museveni, either through, which I hope is through resignation or discussion of his succession. But now,
you lost hope in him.
Mao has destroyed himself and disgraced his character in the bargain.
In your view again, do you think he has the power or he has the position by being Minister for Justice? Do you think he would perform?
Have you ever heard of Kyeyo people having any power?
So he simply, in your view, he has a position rather than power?
Just a position. I don't know how true it is, but it is rumored that his term as leader of DP was coming to an end, or they were going to vote with no confidence in him. So he has been saved by embracing Museveni and his principles. So really, he's in exile. But
so he's a political
but
exile.
his position is such, he will never, if we call DP a home, he will never return home. He will die in exile. So I was very militant. I am angry because what he said at the launch of my book was, I am wrong about
political parties
in Uganda. I've written a chapter in one of the books saying the problem with Uganda is the so-called political party. Now he has proved me right, and I am angry.
Now, given that, what do you think are the lessons learned by young politicians, for example? Because for some reason, it seems to many that now politicians are unreliable. You can't ascertain what they are about to do in the next 1 hour. Do you?
Not all politicians. Ken Ruchamuzi was a fine politician. but he's torn between the love of his daughter and of country. That's why he's silent. Mpuga, personally, I have written to him, and I want to repeat it. Let your views write it down. I gave him an amendment to our laws. We talked on the phone, and he said, speak slowly. I dictated it to him as a member of parliament and leader of the Nupe party in parliament. This is what I told him. Are you okay? And you can even write it. So that you put the question, what have you done about it? When President Museveni decided to remove term limits, he asked cabinet whether they agreed. They didn't. Cabinet refused. The leading refusers included his younger friend and successor in waiting, Elia Kategaya. It included another famous politician from the same region, Amani Mashega. It included a woman militant by the name of Miriam Matembe. It included Bidandi Sari, one of the most respected cabinet ministers we ever had. They all said, no, you must be joking. So in order to get the aid of the corrupt ones, he offered 5 million shillings to all the MPs. And he garnered sufficient numbers for them to remove the constitutional provision of term limits. Then he stayed in power. And the rest you know. When he was getting to 75, Museveni is very cunning. He realized there was another provision in the constitution which would prohibit him. And that was the age limit provision. This time I don't know how he did it, but I think he compromised with the judges. Because I remember it first went to the Constitutional Court, and Alfonso Doro Winye was the Deputy Chief Justice. He was in that petition. And these are his words. The Chief Justice, he's still alive. I hope he can hear me. He said, Ugandans are very funny people. Echoing my writings in the part of Africa, the unexpected happened. He said, how can they want to change the constitution and remove term limit, which, rather age limit, which is guaranteed by the constitution of Uganda, without first waiting for the ink which wrote that constitution to dry. Those are the words of the Chief Justice. So when he said that, I have it in my paper. The only one who dissented in that constitutional code was just this is my friend from Angola. Kakuru dissented. He agreed with me that it would be wrong to remove term limits. Then following, so there was a majority at that time, including the Chief Justice, when I had his words, I assumed he was going also to dismiss the petition. So I wrote another, I got an imaginary judgment And I said, if I was in the court, I would agree with Kakuru and the Chief Justice, because at that time I thought he was determined to allow the petition, and we would be a majority of, I think we would be a majority of 7 against 4, and we would have dismissed, rather we would have allowed the petition, dismissed the petition to remove age limit. That is, it was published in Monitor, and every Ugandan should have read my article dismissing the petition against age limit. I was in court, but it was fictional. Whether it was written outside court. I sent copies afterwards. Do you know what happened? Museveni promised certain things to the Chief Justice, to the Deputy Chief Justice. That's what I think. Then suddenly, to my anticipation, everybody, he also voted for removal. I think that's because he was already Deputy Chief Justice. Whether he promised me to become Chief Justice or whatever, I don't know, or Vice President. But Owini himself changed his position as a result of the conversation he must have had with the President Museveni, and joined the 5 who dismissed
The petition.
this petition, but it was allowed by 4 other judges of the Constitutional Court, including Kakuru, of course. We waited for Bata Katureli, because he was the last one. So there were 4 balance. And from there, so Katureli is a good lawyer. He would also dismiss that petition to the horror of everybody. He said he agreed with those who wanted it dismissed. Oh my God. What a country Uganda is.
You have heard from Justice Kanyeihamba. He continues to wonder what type of a country Uganda is. We are breaking for simply a minute and coming back. In my inbox, surprisingly, Chairman Mao has inboxed me in my WhatsApp. I will tell you what he has.
Shall I say it now?
Yes.
Oh, very good, very good.
Now, in my WhatsApp, I'm going to share with you as soon as we come back. Viewers, don't go away as we continue praying and working hard to see whether they can.
I hope he agrees he's a Kyeyo man.
I would put him online and hear from him whether he agrees
Yes.
Okay, just a minute. Thank you.
I like him for that.
Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk. The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
You have got to get up pretty early to go do something. We are the Alternative Digitalk. with our mobile studios, we are redefining TV presentation just as technology is setting the pace. We are blending our approach with fresh, perspectively designed breakfast show, The Mighty Drive, informative and entertainment show, exclusive and live interviews.
President Museveni wa Digitalk namulaba apima akawunga kilo 2 tasobola kalya nini bwaba alya kilo 5 oyanema okuliisa eggwanga ne bwe limundekera.
Njagala kwebaza the alternative Digitalk etuwadde kano ka Mighty Drive era n'abatuwuliriza bonna abali ku mikutu njagala basaba mugende mu maaso n'okuwuliriza.
All given to you just a click away on your phone, tablet, laptop, and smart TVs. As we are streaming live on our social media platforms, on the road and on the go. We are the alternative Digitalk.
The alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
We are back. Norman Tumuhimbise with Justice Kanyeihamba. We're discussing deeply the cooperation between NRM and DP, where Justice Kanyeihamba, in his words, and he does not regret for any of the words, he calls Chairman Mao a Kyeyo woman. Rather, a Kyeyo man, not Chairman Mao, Kyeyo man. And in particular, Justice Kanyeihamba, we wanted to go slightly through this agreement as you...
I have gone through it already.
Yeah, as you already have it.
I know what is everything there. Somebody sent it to me last night, and I read it all, so I know what is there.
Okay. One of the the principles here say parties affirmed their commitment to a strong, cohesive, united, and inclusive Uganda. Is that possible, in your view, between and in this case, championed by Chairman
I would
Mao?
like to ask Chairman Mao now. A man who calls himself Tibuhaburwa, and I'm told that the mom of Mao understands certainly Runyankole. A man who says, I don't need help. I don't need advice from anybody. I will not act on anybody's advice. Can such a man listen to others for an inclusive government? Let Mao answer that if he is listening to us. Can such a man listen to anybody for any proposal? Can a man obey the document which he has signed, which you signed with him, containing, I will support the aspirations, the widest aspirations of DP. But DP must support the policies and decisions we have agreed on. What does that mean? If Mao is listening to me, first answer that one and make it rational.
Another term herein, another principle says the parties commit to seeking a national consensus through an inclusive national dialogue process regarding accountability gaps and other important national priorities determined in accordance with the cooperation agreement or through subsequent mutual agreements. What is the role of the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs in regards to dialogues?
First of all, he's subordinate and the deviser full-time of the ruling party and its leadership. That is his role in the Constitution. And the Constitution is not an understanding. It is the supreme law of Uganda. Any other proposals, like cooperation, like working as a Kyeyo, is outlawed by the Constitution. By what he has done, Mao is breaking the provision of the Constitution. Secondly, I have carried inquiries. I used to be a researcher, and I have backed my statements. Most DP leaders have talked to me. They didn't even know that there was such a thing in the 14. I invited him become the director of Kanyeihamba Foundation. He was already in negotiations with the NRM. He's a liar. I don't cooperate with liars. I used to respect him. But he is now making my respect very, very thin indeed. Thank you.
In another principle, the party is committed to working in the best interest of Uganda and Ugandans, working to honor the national motto for God and my country, and building and maintaining public confidence in the integrity of governance process. Is that possible?
Museveni provides the answer. When we promulgated the 1995 Constitution, Museveni said publicly, and the Mao remembers, that this Constitution is the best Ugandans have ever done. And I will go in the bush once more if anybody interferes with it. The Kyeyo man and the President Museveni are trying to create new provisions in the Constitution. They are illegal, criminal, and unacceptable to President Museveni at the time we nominated that Constitution. I want this man, Mao, to quote from the Constitution, the supreme law of the law, because what they have done is contrary and is violating the Uganda Constitution. And he asked Kanyeihamba, who was the chairman of the legal drafting committee when that Constitution came in, to accept that cooperating is cooperating on what? The NRM government or members are killing Ugandans. They are torturing Ugandans. Mao, please, are you going to cooperate with NRM when they are torturing your own members and killing some of them? Is that the cooperation you're talking about? Stupid.
How else would you have handled that in the event that Mr. Museveni and NRM had contacted you if you were in Mao's shoes?
They must consult in accordance with the supreme law of Uganda. None of them referred even this document to the Constitution of Uganda. I would have said no. That is outside the Constitution purview.
Ministerial positions, there is a clause, I don't know whether it's clause 7. The Democratic Party's aspirations include enabling a peaceful democratic presidential transition, which is something Ugandans yearn to see. In addition, the Democratic Party is committed to servant leadership, reconciliating Uganda, a new consensus, ending corruption, and shared prosperity. The Democratic Party in particular believes in facilitating a credible, properly mediated and agenda-led national dialogue as the means of a new consensus putting Uganda first.
Let me tell you, the Constitution of Uganda 1995, of which DP was represented by both Semogerere and the late Justice Mulenga, and representative of religious leaders, the Conservative Party to have its views. Museveni nominated the late Professor Apo Nsimbambi. When we finished that constitution, Museveni himself said, I will go in the bush once more if anybody interferes with this constitution. The question is food to mouth. Everything that they are doing is already allowed and provided for in the Constitution of Uganda of 1995, of which Museveni said is the best. Now, Mao wants us to know that his proposal as a Kyeyo man to and agreement with Museveni has now overtaken the Constitution, because the Constitution precisely covers the area you have just read out. Do we need a second document between the Kyeyo man and the President of Uganda?
Clause 10,
Yes.
you also need to dig deeper, that the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs will be the lead minister for coordinating the national dialogue and the whole of government response on constitutional reforms, with a mandate to coordinate budget proposals in the justice, law and order sector. I think it takes us back onto the role of the Justice Minister in regards to dialogue. Don't you think, in your view, Uganda, it's high time it held national dialogues, perhaps to reconcile and something of that nature? If yes, is Mao the most suitable now to lead such dialogues?
Excuse me. I was told, and I know, that you were put in jail under the NRM government for writing and even for me contributing to some book, something. So if they say this should be the law, should we accept it? I have already told you this is covered by the Constitution. The duties and the powers of the Attorney General are spelled out in black and white in the Uganda Constitution. Why do we need an agreement between Mao and Museveni, or let alone parties, when it is already covered in the Constitution, which is the supreme law of Uganda? Are you saying that Museveni and the Mao now are the supreme law of Uganda? Don't be ridiculous.
That is Justice Kanyeihamba. We're trying to dig deeper into the cooperation between Uganda's president, definitely now NRM, though, with DP. Though some members say they weren't consulted about the cooperation, Chairman Mao continues to say that he did his best to consult and inform the members of parliament who subscribe to DP. A quick question, Justice Kanyeihamba, to you. Previously, when NRM had the rebel MPs, Kadaga provided them what we would call no man's land in parliament on the floor. Where do you see DP legislators now occupy? Do they occupy the side of the government? Do they occupy the side of opposition?
They are now orphans. They are now orphans. By the way, talking about that one, it's the second case in which I defeated President Museveni. This time as a lawyer. I was counsel for those 4 so-called rebels of the NRM. They asked me to represent them, save them, and they assist in the parliament. That time Kadaga, who by the way is, you better let the country know what everything is happening. Right Honorable Kadaga is a trustee of Kanyeihamba Foundation. Better Bigombe, right, the Honorable Bigombe, who helped us to curb the rebels in the north and was Minister of the Northern Region, later on worked with the World Bank, is also a trustee of Kanyeihamba Foundation. So I have a big voice, even as a retired judge in this country today. I have told you, I didn't tell you, the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister of Uganda, I told him I am helping the people who are suffering from, is it corona what? This is the disease recently.
COVID.
Yes. all the border here near me, I facilitated them with some little money. I provided the money for the people of Munyonyo. I provided the money for feeding of the people of Kansanga. The Catholic bishop of this area came here. The Protestant bishop came here to thank me for the contribution I've made. I thought that the Prime Minister's office might have mentioned that I am helping in the war against this disease. Obviously, his message has never arrived. Having said that, the Sheikh here, Sheikh Rubega Abdu, the leader of the Muslims in this area, he's the one who campaigned very hard that the local people here should honor Kanyeihamba by naming this road, which is Buziga Hill Road, by naming that road, which goes all the way to Acacia, passing by Wabogo's house, passing by Professor Mamudani's house, who are my neighbors. They should name the road Kanyeihamba Road. The resolutions have been passed in all LCs of this area, and the mayor of Machinde, they are very happy to name it. And soon, hopefully, when you come here to meet him again, we'll going through Kanyeihamba Road. Is that a person just to breathe about? I made the constitution. When we finished making it, President Museveni said, you and come. He called the late Wakaburo, Stephen Kavuma, later to become a judge of the Court of Appeal, and me to go and meet the chief guest who came to attend the promulgation of the Constitution, who was the former president, rather Prime Minister, executive Prime Minister, and like us, of Ethiopia. We went to the president's secret office and he introduced it. And he said, this constitution has largely been made by Professor Kanyeihamba, who is a very difficult minister of mine. Difficult minister of mine. And we shook the hand of the late Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Nobody else came. I don't think Mao was he? Mao was not a member, was not a delegate in the Constituent Assembly, was he? I don't remember.
Sure.
But he wouldn't have remembered all that. He came here and spoke, and you can put it on the media if you have, you still have a copy, and give his full speech, what praising me and how honest I am. But I ask many members of DP, they don't even know that he has defected to work in a Kyeyo area. They don't know it. So who is telling the truth?
Just
What he is arguing about is in the constitution of Uganda. Are we making a new constitution with this new agreement of Museveni and the Mao? No. Sometimes when I'm arguing with some Ugandans, especially political leaders, I remember a famous saying, don't argue with the fools in case people think you are one of them. Thank you.
Okay, words of Justice Kanyeihamba here discussing, digging deeper into the cooperation between NRM and Chairman Mao and DP. But to ask also, Justice Kanyeihamba, historically we have had leaders from the opposition working with government, and most likely Chairman
Under
Mao,
the 1995 Constitution?
not really, no.
At the moment as we speak, the overriding power, the overriding authority comes from the Uganda Constitution of 1995, of which Mr. said is the best Ugandans have ever made. So don't divert from there. Once you know that, you don't ask me that question made by others, Corporation of Museveni, Corporation of Obote, Corporation of Moi, rather of Amin. There is relevant today, whatever they agree.
Because
any cooperation that they are proposing, any amendment they are proposing, must be in conformity with the supreme law of Uganda, which is the Constitution of 1995. Everything else goes by the wayside. Remember that, Norman.
your viewer asks that Kawanga Simogerere was appointed Minister for Internal Affairs in 1987,
Yes,
deputized by Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Yeah. By what?
Deputized by Dr. Kizza Besigye at the time.
Yes.
And so many others. Why is it making so much shock when Mao considers serving Museveni as Minister for Justice?
Because it is unconstitutional. And I think that, right, listen to me, viewer. I have told you that everything powerful, rightful, emanates from the Uganda Constitution of 1995. It overtakes what basically the late the late leader of the NLU. And by the way, that question has reminded me, apart from Benedicto Chiwanuka, all subsequent leaders of DP have been swallowed in the Kyeyo of Museveni. Reader, are you listening to me? Refer to the Constitution of Uganda. Not the arrangement made by Kawanga. No. Once they tell you everything emanates and is governed by the Uganda Constitution, have you read it? Then you wouldn't ask that question.
Your other viewer, we are going to spend this, some of these remaining minutes to read comments from your viewers, so that you can answer to them. Nachene Rita says, but the Constitution seems to be silent on such cooperation. Which legal glitch have the parties in the cooperation committed?
Pardon?
Okay, Nachene Rita says rather, but the Constitution seems to be silent.
No, it is not silent. You see, Ugandans read a little bit, and they think that is the whole. The Constitution says the leaders of political parties shall be democratic, with integrity, and work in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. So it is not silent. But if you make a deal with the Kyeyo man, which is unconstitutional, you cannot come up and say, but the Constitution is silent. The Constitution does not say that, who asked this? Is it a lady or a woman?
Yes, it's Nachene Rita, it's a lady.
It's a lady. Did the Constitution say you should marry your husband?
It is also silent.
So, if it is silent, and then Norman here tells you, marry me, and you don't want to marry him, then you refuse. Would you say the silent?
The Constitution is silent
on you marrying me. Sometimes we ask very silly questions. Thank you.
Okay, there is Ballet Juvenile. I wish to know from Professor, can one be a minister in the ruling government and the same person becomes a president of an opposition party? This is
First of all,
Balei.
It is unconstitutional. It is illegal, and it is, according to supporters of that person, it is criminal. Rather, is unconstitutional. Because you cannot have a political leader serving another leader as Minister of Justice and constitutional law and advisor, chief advisor. Because part of your work as the leader of that party is to protect your leader, rather your party, against intrusions by the ruling party. You can never do both. You can't serve two masters and satisfy them both. You will either please one or disappoint the other. So DP is left without a leader and is very disappointed. You cannot be in the confidence of the leader of your party and enemy of your party, Museveni, and also lead and direct DP. It is an exercise in absurdity.
Chiza Zex, thanks Justice for exposing the hypocritical character of the great Kyeyo man. I seem to appreciate and I think
thank you for adding great. I think it's great.
I think you have baptized you becoming a bishop. You are baptizing Mao, becoming a Kyeyo man.
Yes, the Kyeyo man, yes.
Mwetare Farouk Hussein says the Kyeyo man is lying to us that he wants to lead the dialogue, but in the first place we have been with Museveni lying right away from a long time ago. So how are you convinced that he can change Museveni's mind?
I like that question. He cannot. But Museveni will change the mind of the Kyeyo man to agree with Museveni and enter the same bed.
Juvenile Balei, you need that he suggests you need Mao in Saudi Arabia. I think he's now making him seem like the young people who are being exposed.
Yes.
Rogers Tuyahabwe, Prof has been in the political circles for quite some time. At what point and under what circumstances can a person from a different political party legally work with another party? Rogers Tuyahabwe asks.
That is not possible or even logical. He can only work with the party he has joined, and the party which he has abandoned, which is in this case is DP, should be seriously considering replacing him with another leader.
A quick one from me to our viewers, Justice Kanyeihamba. I am aware that one of the countries you have been for so long is UK. We have had and seen alliances, for lack of another word, where a political party, let's say Labour Party, has few members in parliament, so they have an alliance with another party. Why is it working that side and here it is deemed?
Which party do they have an alliance with?
No, I mean we have had.
No, you have said they have alliance with another
not
party.
Not the most recent, but historically.
Yeah, yes.
There has been.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, there has been.
But those are called coalitions.
Coalitions, not.
And they discuss the whole structure of government together.
And share positions.
Not to say we are giving you. DP is the oldest party in Uganda. At one time, it had the majority of members and supporters in Uganda. You can't just call the leader of its party and its secretary. And you say, we are making you cabinet minister to become Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Then you, the second one who has come with him, we are making him you. What is he making the other man?
This one of the Secretary General of the party, according to this agreement, they will support him to be an MP for East African Community, Legislative Assembly.
We
rather.
support him.
Yeah, NRM.
And I think
government.
Museveni will keep his word and keep him. But then, where does that leave DP? The DP is more than just two people. Mao has stated that he consulted the party. I have asked at least 5 members, including 3 leaders. They say we didn't even know that he has gone for Kyeyo in the NRM. They don't know. So you can't consult just 2 people. And then you see we have consulted the party. One of the relatives today of Museveni is his own relative. Actually 2 in this government. So if President Museveni consults one of them, but he doesn't consult anybody in the movement, can he claim falsely? And that's what I am getting even angry about with Mao. I thought he was a very truthful man. He always told the truth. Now he has proved what is a wrong slogan, that all lawyers are liars. But I am not.
Okay, our viewers, by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, but also it's never late though. You can call direct on 0759 132 310 or 0789 017 145. It is 0759 132 310 or 0789 171, rather 0789 017 145, and ask Justice Kanyeihamba any question, especially if it is in regards to the Kyeyo man, as he calls him.
And my appeal, the Prime Minister to come and collect a check of 15 million shillings and take it immediately to Karamoja to feed the dying.
Okay. Ashraf Kinyoli. What if Museveni is targeting Kenyan cooperation of Odinga and Mao, with being the same, Mao being over the same tribe, so that's why he brings Mao?
You see, I never answer speculative questions. Museveni has not done so. So I don't know what he's targeting. But for me, he's targeting to be the only bull in the Uganda crowd.
Now, Nwamanya Patience says, I'm late for this show, but Professor, is there a possibility that it's the end of the road for DP and more support for NRM from northern Uganda and eastern region? I think to her, is this so strategic that now he's bridging the gap between the south and the north by appointing Mao Justice Minister? What's your view?
When you appoint a very formally powerful man and reduce him to a Kyeyo man, who, if he had won the presidential election, would have become the leader of Uganda, you are not assisting the North. You are destroying its leadership. Madam, weigh your words before you say them.
Farouk Mutari Farouk Hussein, so Mr. Mao is NRM 311?
Yes. He is now.
So quick to answer that.
Yes, very quickly. He is now NRM, but the job he's doing is a Kyeyo job, not a ministerial job. Although in paper,
it's a ministerial job.
He's projected as Minister of Constitutional Affairs and constitutional, rather for justice and the constitutional affairs. That is empty gesture. like you give an artificial bone to a dog and it carries off thinking it is a bone with meat. That is what Museveni has reduced Mao to. Mao, I am not angry for anything else, but because you told lies to Ugandans. But now we have shown your true colors. They thought you are a fox fighting for the meat of the buffalo, but you have shown you are a newly born lamb, the child of a sheep who have not yet even learned how to walk. Thank you.
I want you to substantiate your, when I asked the question on which side did you think the DP members will sit, you simply said they were orphans and you did not go ahead to substantiate what you meant by calling them orphans.
Because their leader, whom I respected very much and hoped would make it to the presidency, has abandoned them shamefully and is now doing Kyeyo on the orders of NRM. That's why I said that.
As former Attorney General, where do you where do you see these members sit? Are they occupying the opposition? Are they occupying the NRM side in Parliament, the DP members in Parliament? Or they will
I want you to read my other book. I think it is in the name of God, truth and justice. And all of us, including those who are asking questions, claim to be Christians, mostly, whether Catholic or Protestant. And in that book, I predicted that the problem in Uganda is not Museveni or NRM, it is the so-called opposition political parties. For that, when Mao, a few months came and attended the launch of my book, Evolution of Constitutional Law, Public Law and the Government, he said I was wrong. The political parties are as strong as ever, and they are doing the job they promised their members to do. By defecting to Kyeyoism, Mao has betrayed all the DP members who believed in him. He has betrayed them. DP at one time was the largest supported party in Uganda. Mao has stood against Museveni twice or once.
More than twice.
More than 2 times, opposing him as the wrong president of Uganda. This is Mao, the chairman. He has opposed Museveni and stood himself as president. How can you now lick his boots as they want to reconcile Ugandans? When 2 of your members, or members of the other party, Sewanyana and somebody else, have been refused the bail, which I warned Museveni when I was Minister of Justice and Attorney General, said don't. Please, even in Kyeyo, people are useful. Now that you are Attorney General, all that the release of the innocents who are now rotting in jail. Do it now. And we think you are, although you are a chairman, you have sympathy with your people who are jailed, tortured, and are being denied their human rights. Do it not tomorrow, not after you have been advised by your boss Museveni. Do it now. And you shall restore the little reputation you deserved before. I say that. That's why I'm also saying, although I'm here, I'm still thinking of the Kalamajonga dying one by one. By this morning, 100 had died. But Museveni has a lot of money to give supporters. I am sure they are spending millions, if not billions, in Teso today. They have forgotten our brothers and sisters who are dying in Karamoja. What country are we who allow people to die when we are capable of supporting them? But spend billions on one MP whose identity I even don't know. Let us all cry for the Pearl Africa, whose children are being now tortured with the cooperation of the former leader of DP, Mao, who no longer has any voice or power in this country except as allowed by him by the party which tortures Ugandans daily. You can recall that at that juncture, Kanyeihamba kept quiet because his eyes were full of what? Tears. I cry for my Uganda. I cry. And I now know why God has kept me going to say those words. Even if I die today, God has helped me to say what I have said today. It is the most important statement I have ever made to Alternative Digital. Thank you.
Okay, our viewers, it's a call to the Prime Minister, Right Honorable Nabanja, and also the Vice President, Jessica Alupo. I am aware that both of them are in Teso, in Soroti in particular, to solicit votes for their candidate, even when they are simply a few kilometers from...
Can we call them from here?
From where they are.
And they say, come and get money from Kanyeihamba, 50 million shillings. Call them today, because our people are dying, you people! It's not a joke.
Yeah, we are.
People are dying! Oh my God.
They have had...
What kind of country is this?
And we look...
Call them. If you need me, I'll give you the money. You can go and tell them if they're hiding in their hotels. Please wake them up. Come and get a little money to save at least 2 Kalamanjongas. Even only 2. Oh.
They will definitely...
How can the Prime Minister be organizing the registration of border?
When people are dying of hunger. Justice Kanyeihamba, Clause 17 says, beyond these stated areas of cooperation, it is also the government's intention to work with political parties from across Parliament, including the opposition, on issues that affect our democracy, including the recommendations of the Supreme Court on electoral reforms, recommendations made by the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee on Constitutional Reforms, and the length of the parliamentary term.
Words, meaning absolutely nothing. When I was Attorney General, Samuel Wambuzi was the Chief Justice of Uganda, and he was also the chairman in those days of the Judicial Service Commission. The cabinet asked me that we have very few judges, help us to appoint more. I requested for at least 10 in those days judges of the High Court, 2 judges of the Supreme Court, rather 5 judges of the Supreme Court, and the 7 judges of the Court of Appeal. Chief Justice Wambuzi took about 2 months investigating the whole country. One of the requests was that the politicians had asked for a special judge to sit in Karamoja, and he should be a Karamojong speaking judge. So I took these decisions to the Chief Justice. After 2 months, the Chief Justice called me to the chambers. Unlike president judges, when ministers call them, they go there. In those days, we respected the judiciary so much that even though I was the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice, I am the one who went to Wambuzi's chambers at the courts. I said, anything to report? He said, Professor, I have very bad news for you. He said, yes, if it was a question of appointing somebody who is qualified as a lawyer, I would fulfill those places. But we don't have anyone qualified. And by qualification, I don't mean LLB or practicing certificate at the Law Development Center. But for a judge, the most important qualification is integrity. That was Wambuzi. I respected him then, loved him then, I still do. So I reported to cabinet. President Museveni was sitting. That the Chief Justice, who happens also to be the chairman of the Judicial Service Commission, has reported to me that there are no candidates suitable for appointment. So we waited for another 2 or 3 years before the Chief Justice was able to say, I now have about 10 people who are qualified to occupy the office of the judges and chief magistrates. When President Museveni recently demanded judges and the magistrates, the Judicial Service Commission was nominated dozens and dozens of them without ever considering their integrity. A person who has no integrity cannot be a judge, should never be a judge of Uganda. Then recently, he nominated, with the approval of the Chief Justice, I believe, 47 judges and the magistrates. So they are only looking about, do you have LLBs? Do you have people with a diploma? Those are appointable. The most important consideration of a judge is justice and integrity. Those are the only 2. I wish they could appoint somebody like Norman here, who probably is not, has no practicing certificate, a judge, because I saw in him honesty, integrity, and is motivated by justice. Now, I told the Deputy Chief Justice, when I went to see him recently on our petition against President Museveni, threat against the right to bail. And I asked him, you are feeding the court. with unqualified, the courts. The reason I asked him and not the minister responsible is because Richard is a friend of mine. That's why I had the courage to ask him. Then he said, I have no business in the appointment or recommendation of the judges. He was honest. The people who nominate judges is President Museveni. The Constitution does not allow him to do so, but he does. The people who nominate magistrates is the Electoral Commission. But the Amukama, a former judge, is now a pure cadre of the movement. So I am not only crying for my brothers and sisters in Karamoja, those who have died, I sympathize, and may the Lord God rest them in blissful peace. You notice that I say blissful peace, not eternal peace, because I believe in resurrection as a Christian. But many bishops will tell you, or say, may the God rest him in eternal peace, as if they have forgotten that we shall resurrect one day.
Okay, our viewers, we are closing with Justice Kanyeihamba. Now, with due honesty, describe the character now of Chairman Mao with his whole move alongside your friend, Mr. Museveni.
Let me paraphrase what we have said by saying, everything I say it with all due honesty. So,
calling him a
so you are not reminding me that I should now do honesty, as if what I've been saying is not honest.
So you called him a Chairman?
But it's the language, and the English is not our first language, so I forgive you for that. Really, I want to judge him politically and honestly.
Yes.
I combine the both. Mao still remains my friend.
That's one.
I hope he knows that. But politically, and as a leader, he has committed a suicide. I don't know whether you want me to add more, but what I could add.
The last word now for the president.
Mr. President, you have told us in Lunachira, and in the last election, you changed your name and campaigned as Tibuhaburwa, Mr. Tibuhaburwa. But for the last time, can't you listen to my advice? Which was that if a president has said he doesn't need advice, he has forfeited his right to continue being president. That's why you have admitted that corruption in Uganda is rampant. The Prime Minister, your former advisor on corruption, and Mao himself. By the way, that's the only thing he said which makes sense, that he will join Museveni to fight against corruption. But Museveni has already surrendered
corruption.
That I cannot control corruption. So how do you tell a man who has already said, we can't control corruption, that I'm going to help you remove corruption? So President Mao, let me tell you finally, Museveni, Mao, in all he has done, and looking at this document, which I got last night, And what he said there? He's seeking
Asylum.
political asylum in the realm of NRM, where they have employed him temporarily as a chairman. Secondly, Museveni, looking at what you have said and what you are now, do this country a favor, if you love it, and retire as soon as possible before this end of the term. And let us discuss your succession as a country, as political parties, as religious leaders, whom I have sent a copy. I have sent a copy to Bishop Kazinga, the Archbishop of Uganda. I have personally also sent a copy to Paul Semogezi, the Archbishop of Kampala and the leader of all Catholics, including Mao, to him. That is my notes of submissions to the Constitutional Court challenging the right to bail, challenged by the NRM, the Attorney General, and the Museveni. Museveni, very wisely, and I thank you, you have withdrawn that sentence. As the whole world knows, the BBC, the Voice of America, and all the judges of Uganda court, because I have each sent a copy of that, my scheduled note. I have sent it to the Chief Justice, to all the judges of the Supreme Court, to all the judges of the Court of Appeal, to judges of the High Court, all of them, to all the political leaders of Uganda. Tell me, Chagulanyi, I have even sent one to one I admire most. She's a BCG. Why haven't you even acknowledged we have received your scheduled notes challenging the right to bail? And then when he heard about it, Museveni himself responded by saying, I will no longer challenge the right to bail. Why are the all opposition parties, including Mao? Mao, are you listening to me? No. Why haven't you commented on that? Now, I haven't forgotten what I said that I will give you. I haven't given to you. Every listener to me writes to this. I was half waiting that when he wanted the age limits removed,
he bribed MPs.
Rather the term limit removed, he sacked my late and much lamented friend Elia Katekayo. He sacked Amanda Mushega. He sacked Semogezi. He sacked Matembe. Then what happened? What happened was Parliament smuggled in, write it down. I don't have a paper here, you will be my witness. But I have a photographic memory. He smuggled in, up to term limits, a new law which is unconstitutional. A new law which is unconstitutional. Paragraph A. Clause 6 of Section 59 of the Presidential Elections Act. It is purely illegal, it is unconstitutional, and should be banned from the Uganda laws. So I took this one personally to Kyagulanyi, who swept Uganda with his MPs in the parliament. When I went to his house, I saw a worker there who said Kyagulanyi was not in. Then I took it to his member of parliament, Mpuga, and we discussed together. I said, please move this motion as a member of parliament and address to the speaker, Madam Speakers. I move this motion and you have taken a copy of it. Because it is unconstitutional, it was obtained by bribery by NRM, and it is the only one that will justify all the judgments, so-called judgments, that the Supreme Court uses to dismiss all the petitions, and the same 7 has won.
Okay.
Now tell me, please, how can we continue calling these political parties when even that alone, just to move it, not even speak about it, let the members of parliament speak about it. How can it be difficult for Mao or Mpuga? I even sent a copy of one of the NRM member of parliament who hates corruption, and that is the MP for Bushenyi. No, for Ntungamo. The younger MP for Ntungamo. But none of those, I sent it personally. Another time, nobody has ever acknowledged that I received it. So the most important rule in Uganda, which everybody, including Mao, fears, is that paragraph A of subsection 6 of section 59 of the Presidential Election Act, which is not even in the Constitution and conflicts with the Constitution of 1995. How can you call anybody a political leader in this country? Whether they be Mao's, Kyagulanyi's, I took it to Kyagulanyi's house, I know where it is. I went in my wheelchair, but they carried me to his house. I think he hid from me. And if he dies, he didn't hide from me. Why has he promised so many times to come and see me, and he's never seen me? So, concluding, in the power of Africa, the unexpected happens.
Good. Finally, we have, I'm reading just these comments from Mutale Farouk. He says, it's absurd that the former DP and presidential candidate is reduced to a Kyeyo man, and he calls it a cooperation leading to a national dialogue, and he is claiming to spearhead it. Oh, Mao, I'm in tears because I grew up being told that DP is for truth and justice. Now, who is left to be trusted in parties? Nwamanya Patience says, bring Professor back. Yeah, next Wednesday we shall be with him again. And another viewer here says, I love the knowledge here. Hope to meet you, Justice Kanyeihamba. We hope this viewer will one day meet you. Gentlemen and ladies, we can't exceed even a second from now. Let us meet next Wednesday. Keep it Alternative Digitalk and also Digitalk TV. May God bless one and bless all. Thank you, Justice Kanyeihamba.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.